Hello, I'm Sir Anthony, and now we are going to tackle the first lesson in the first quarter, which is called the pop modals. On the previous video, I explained how verbs work and discussed the three types of verbs. And they are the action verbs, linking verbs, and helping verbs. Helping verbs are sometimes called the auxiliary verbs, bearing its name auxiliary, meaning to provide additional help or support. These auxiliary verbs include the word modals. They are helping verbs that are usually used with another verb to express ideas such as permission, prohibition, obligation, ability, necessity, possibility, and more. But in this module, we will focus on these three: the permission, obligation, and prohibition. Or should I say, the pop modals. Modals of permission can be used to ask and give permission, or indicate whether someone has permission to do something or not. These are some commonly used modals of permission: can, could, may, and might. Can is used to say that someone is allowed to do something. For instance, can you now use your module in English? Yes, you can now use your module in English. So in this case, I am allowing you, or you are permitted to use the module. Could is more formal and polite than can. It is used to say that someone was allowed to do something in the past. For example, could I borrow your cell phone? Yes, you could borrow my cell phone. Another example is, she could have used my messenger account. Now, she could not. Maybe because he left you already. Joke. May is the most formal way to ask for and give permission. Like, for example, may I see your ID? Yes, you may see my ID. Might is used to express permission, but with lower possibility of getting it. For instance, he asked if he might be your prom date in the promenade night. You might be the one of my choices. Modals of obligation, have to and must to, can be used to express general obligation. There is a slight difference between the way you use them. Must expresses a strong obligation or necessity. For example, I must submit my projects before the deadline. I must follow the school policy. Have to shows that the obligation comes from someone else, not the speaker. This is usually referring to a rule or a law. For example, we have to wear complete uniforms when we're in school. Another one, when do we have to return the module? Note, use had to express obligation in the past. For instance, I had to pay 20 pesos for my lost book last year. That's your obligation. Your obligation in the past was already done or fulfilled. Sometimes you use the word don't have to. It is used to show that there's no obligation or it is not compulsory. For example, you don't have to bring anything when you visit me. So that thing is not your obligation, right? They don't have to pay for my lost pen. So it's not compulsory that you pay the lost pen. The last one is should. It suggests personal obligation and weaker than the modal must. For example, we should patronize Philippine products. So that is your personal obligation, right? You have the choice to choose what you want to do. You want to buy Philippine products or not. Another example is, you should take a bath for the sake of your classmates. Kidding aside, but that's a correct example. It's your personal obligation to take a bath for your hygiene. The last one in the POP modals is the modals of prohibition. It is used to show that something is prohibited or not allowed. So you can use can't, mustn't, must not, and may not. Can't or cannot is used to say that they do not have permission to do something. For instance, you can't speak in online class unless you're allowed to. They can't enter the area for coronavirus patients. So these are the things that you can't do or you're not permitted to do. You use can't. You can also use cannot if you want. Use must not to talk about what is not permitted. It is common on public signs and notices informing people of rules and laws, such as, for example, visitors must not go around the prohibited area in the hospital. Or another one is, personal belongings must not be left unattended. Use mustn't, the contraction of must not. Okay, there is a particular use for that. Use mustn't, particularly when the prohibition comes from the speaker. For example, a parent to child. You must not say things like that to someone older than you. A teacher to a student. You mustn't be absent tomorrow. The last modal in the modals of prohibition is may not. It is the formal way to prohibit something. It is usually used in media or news to prohibit something. For example, from security card to the customer, you may not enter the supermarket without quarantine pass. Another example from a news reporter, senior citizens may not go out unless necessary. So, those are the things about POP modals, or permission, obligation, prohibition modals. Enjoy learning!